As you know, the war between Russia and Ukraine isn't something new. It's been decades for the clash between these two states. Furthermore, if we talk about the current situation, the war between these two states have been prolonged because of the major role of great powers, and consequently, it made Russia to take such harsh decisions that has diverted its attention toward Europe. This is me, your host Mahnur Gohar, and you're watching Park News English. Recently, the United States has announced devastating economic measures to ban new investments in Russia and impose the most severe financial sanctions on Russia's largest bank and several of its most critical state-owned enterprises, and on Russian government to limit Russia and impact on Ukraine. But consequently, it led to the massive crisis around the globe. In addition to this, Vladimir Putin has condemned Western sanctions imposed because of Russia's war in Ukraine as a fever that poses a threat to the entire world. In a speech to an economic forum in Vladivostok, he said Russia was coping with the West's economic aggression, but the Russian president warned that quality of life for Europeans was being sacrificed to sanctions, while poorer countries were losing access to food. He also said Europe was cheating poor countries out of Ukraine's grain. For months, Ukraine's seas ports were blockaded by Russian forces, but since export resumed at the start of August, Russia's leader asserted that only 2 grain ships had gone to Africa, which is not the case. He said that he wanted to discuss revisiting the deal in remarks rejected by Ukraine as groundless. Russia launched its invasion on 24 February and now occupies around a fifth of Ukrainian territory. 6 months on, it has been pushed back from areas around Kyiv and the north and now faces a Ukrainian counter-offensive in the south and east as well. Western nations responded to the war by imposing sanctions on a large number of Russian individuals, businesses, and state-run enterprises. The European Union has sought to cut its reliance on Russian gas and oil, and Moscow has shut its key Nord Stream gas pipeline to Germany, blaming it on technical issues. Energy prices have soared, and EU ministers meet on Friday to respond to the crisis. The Russian leader condemned one proposal for a cap on Russian gas prices as stupid. Mr. Putin told his audience the West was trying to impose its behavior on other countries. Many companies had rushed to leave Russia. He said, "Now we are seeing how production and jobs in Europe are closing one after another." However, Russia is also feeling the pinch, with inflation rising and companies struggling to import much-needed parts. The EU has already barred direct flights from Russia, and last week its 27 member state angered Moscow further by agreeing to make the process of securing a visa more laborious for Russians. A much-prized Schengen visa covering 22 EU countries is likely to become more expensive too. The 3 Baltic states have now gone further with a deal to bar Russians from crossing from Russia and Belarus unless they are lorry drivers or have families and humanitarian reasons. Now here the question is that what role did the Great has played in controlling the crisis and war between Ukraine and Russia? Did the US not know about the consequences of putting sanctions on Russia? Now here the question arises that what role did great powers has played in controlling the war between Ukraine and Russia? Did US not know about the consequences of sanctions that they put on Russia? What would be the global situation, the global economic situation in the upcoming 6 months? To know about these facts, keep watching Park News English. This is me once again, your host Mahnur Gohar. Until then, stay tuned.